Ngikhumbula intombi yami igama layo ngutholakele ema. Ngikhumbula intombi yami igama layo ngutholakele ema. Ngikhumbula intombi yami emadoda nje igama layo ngutholakele. Awu ngenye imini ngikhumbula ngenye imini thina bosihle.
In 2012, my wife Irma and I went on safari to the Serengeti Plain in Tanzania. There we viewed the big five animals: lion, leopard, elephant, rhino, African buffalo. In 2026, I thought about revisiting Africa, mainly to see more cats, more leopards, and more cheetahs, my favorite big cat. I also wanted to see the famed Victoria Falls, so I could compare its cataracts to South America's Iguazu Falls on the remote borders of Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. I loved it there in 2016. So here we go, signing up for Overseas Adventure Travel's Ultimate Africa Safari Tour. Destination: the national parks and private reserves of Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana, three landlocked former British territories in southern Africa. Zimbabwe, 17 million people, slightly larger than Montana. Official unemployment rate, 9%. Cecil Rhodes, British colonialist and mining magnate, marched north from the Limpopo River in 1890, searching for precious minerals. Rhodes wrangled control of a vast region for his British South Africa Company. The colonies he founded, Southern Rhodesia, Northern Rhodesia, and Nyasaland, later formed a federation. As black nationalist sentiment grew, Ian Smith, hardline leader of Southern Rhodesia's white minority government, unilaterally declared independence in 1965, igniting a 7-year civil war for black freedom. In a 1980 election, the nation entered majority rule under rebel hero Robert Mugabe, with a new name from a medieval kingdom, Zimbabwe. For 37 years, strongman Mugabe seized land from white farmers and so mismanaged the economy that Zimbabwe had to print a hyperinflated $100 trillion bill. Mugabe was 93 when the military ousted him in 2017, appointing former Vice President Emerson Mnangagwa as president. He rules today after two widely questioned election victories. April 29, 2026, Victoria Falls International Airport welcomes our tour group to Zimbabwe. But we won't be seeing the falls for quite a while. Not far south, New Jersey-sized Hwange National Park. A bus ride on a dusty highway brings us to the park gate. Trip leader Sitabile Dakamungombe, a former prosecutor called Star, gives the 14 travelers an authoritative briefing. Once in the park, we switch to open-air four-wheel drive safari vehicles for the jouncing ride to Kashawe Tent Camp. The camp keeps a classic 45-year-old Land Rover, old mainstay of safaris, but now most vehicles are Toyotas. They are all called Jeeps, though there is not an actual Jeep to be seen. Our party includes 4 doctors: Steve Kornblau and Abby Berenson of Clear Lake, Texas, and Paul and Annette Huang of Palo Alto, California. Tom and Karen Cole, Acton, Massachusetts. Cameron Gilbraith, Grand Junction, Colorado. 3 friends from Fort Wayne, Indiana: Dawn Schlicht, Trina Vian, Michelle Gottschalk. Mary Veal, a well-traveled yoga instructor from Jupiter, Florida. Paula Nerschel, Aspen, Colorado. Irma and I, making sure to take our daily anti-malaria pills. Open pit coal mining mars the area's beauty, fouling the air. Coal fuels 68% of Zimbabwe's power and is exported for foreign exchange. Chinese and Russian interests own the coal companies. They mined even in the national park until 2020. Grinding through the Mopane vegetation, our local driver and guide points out our first elephant tracks. It isn't hard to know the pachyderms are around, considering all the dung. And sure enough, our first Ellies, as they're nicknamed in Africa. They like to hang out around the imposing baobab trees for the water they find in the bark. Kashawe Camp. Its Spartan tents, actually sturdy wooden cabins with heavy canvas sides. Central dining and socializing areas have a fire pit for nighttime chats. First game drive through Hwange's woodlands and grasslands under the instruction of guides adept at spotting animals. Impalas thrill us until they become so routine we start dismissing these graceful antelope speedsters as cat food on the hoof. Uh-oh, evidence that 4 countries have moved all their rhinos to a central Botswana sanctuary to save them from poachers. At best, we will be seeing only the big 4. And for now, a former buffalo will have to suffice for that big 4 checklist.
Here comes the one on the right, just coming out across the road.
Just scratching.
He'd love that, I'm sure.
We could call this little cave Hogwarts. It is a perfect den for Pumbaa the warthog.
2 babies. Look at that. They also lots of
For
elephant
birders, a hoopoe, a nest constructed by the ubiquitous weaver birds, and a bee-eater, among the most colorful of African avian. A day in the life of the nearby Lukosi community. Star has us buy cornmeal and other essentials as gifts for the extended family of a village headman named Mr. Impala, believe it or not, at the family's relatively privileged compound.
What are they? Can I take a picture here?
Yes.
Since here we grow corn, and this is our staple food.
In a structure the family calls the summer house, where the women sit on the floor while the men are at work in the coal mines, we share a treat of fried mopane worms, caterpillars scooped from the leafy mopane trees. A little chewy like jerky, they are a primary local source of protein, 3 times the protein of beef. It was moving to hear from this ambitious young woman, intent on breaking from tribal domestic roles to somehow get a college education. Back to the bumpy game drives, where sightings are spotty before we make our strenuous way to Zambia. The former Northern Rhodesia became independent without a military struggle. Big as Texas, with 22.5 million people, Zambia, named for the 1,600-mile Zambezi River, has long been the world's second largest copper producer after Chile. In Lusaka, the capital, Kenneth Kaunda bossed an authoritarian first presidency for 27 years. Third president since 2012, Hakainde Hichilema. At the airport in Livingston, a few miles upriver from Victoria Falls, a bronze statue of the explorer and medical missionary Dr. David Livingstone, first European to see and to name the Great Falls. With him, his trusted African guides, James Chuma and Abdullah Susi, I presume. It's time for our short Cessna Skyvan flight to Kafue National Park, as big as Connecticut. Reaching the 1,000-mile-long Kafue River, we land at the remote Chunga Dirt Airstrip. There aren't many other airports with hippo poop on the runway. On the 2-hour jeep run to the camp, a tsetse fly bites me painfully on the crown of my head. Reports vary on whether tsetses still cause the dreaded sleeping sickness, but few tourists are affected, and I stay awake. Rivercraft motor us to the hospitable Kaingu Safari Lodge on the broad Kafue. Next morning, guarded from predators by a rifleman, a 2-mile nature hike through the Miambo woodland to the top of 330-foot Impamba Rock for a spot of tea. The walk provides just about our only exercise on a phlebogenic safari of sitting and eating. I am about to lose 100% of my conditioning as a distance runner. Jogging through the bush, of course, is out of the question. Camp staffers teach the ladies about the exotic wrap skirts called chitenge and turbans called doku. Many of the women end up wearing chitenge. Back on the animal chase, burning elephant dung to stave off the tsetse flies. With Irma starting to look fatigued, we encounter a big striped greater kudu, a hippo out of the water, a rare sight during daylight, leaping impala, related antelope called huku.
Just leave them.
They lost the fight. Now they found each other as the losers.
Yellow baboons, a prominent sight. It's delightful to see a baby baboon trying to play with a banded mongoose. Animal viewing is not just on land. The river teems with wildlife. An African fish eagle, a national symbol on the Zambian flag. This guy is called a hammercock. But the real stars are the water-basking hippos. Ashore, we learn, never get between a hippo and the water. Charging hippos kill more people in Africa than any other animal. Julia Bauer, originally from Germany, runs Kaingu with her Scottish-born husband, Gilmore Dixon.
Did you ever think you'd end up running a safari lodge in Zambia?
Never. Living in Africa never thought, but we always liked to live remote. And fell in love here with this Kafue National Park because it's so big, it's so remote.
Right. And your husband, was he here first, or did you?
No, we come
You
together.
came together. And
Yeah,
did you
yeah,
buy
yeah.
this place?
Yes, we took over with other. We've got another shareholding cover, and we took over the business from the people who originally started the lodge.
No big cats for us yet, but Julia loves mulilo, or fire, as well as her Malasha and Orla.
We might be Southern African countries, but we are so diverse, especially when it comes to culture, tradition and tribes. For example, in Zimbabwe, we have 16 official languages. So that means the country itself has anything between 30 to 40 languages that are spoken. Some of these languages are so different to anything that you hear in Zambia, which has 76 languages. And so that shows already that we are so different, so diverse. The vegetation as well, we have different foods and so forth. But one thing that I always say we have in common is most of us are of Bantu origin. At the bottom of it all, we say, umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. Literally, you can bring it close to it takes a village, or a person is not a person of their own making, but what makes a person is their community. So we are more communal in nature as Southern Africans mostly, but I believe that that's who we are as Africans. We live in communities rather than in isolated homesteads, and we have a very, very strong social support structure.
Let's go.
After a 60-mile dawn drive back to the Chunga Strip in cold wind blasts, Irma plainly has had it with the dizzying motion, the rough travel. Approaching Livingston Airport again, the mist from Victoria Falls rises in the distance, visible from 50 miles away. Africans call the falls Mosi Oatunya, the smoke that thundered. At the airport, Irma has rebelled, dropping off the tour for the 6 days we are to spend at 2 camps in Botswana. The rest of us get a glimpse of the hard-scrabble town of Livingston. A walk through the sprawling outdoor market, offering not only everything but the kitchen sink, but in fact, the kitchen sink. Botswana, a Texas-sized sandy nation of just 2.4 million, has been a success story compared to neighbors. At first, one of the world's poorest countries, home to the Stone Age Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert, Botswana discovered a bonanza of diamonds only 3 years after independence in 1966. The result for decades was an upper-middle-class economy. First President Sir Seretse Khama, whose marriage to a white Englishwoman upset both blacks and whites, presided over a model constitution and over what remains perhaps Africa's most politically stable, least corrupt and bribe-prone government. Duma Boko, the current president, marvels here over the recently discovered Jwaneng diamond, second largest diamond ever found. But in Gaborone, the capital, the years of glittering prosperity have collided with the cubic zirconia. That's a much cheaper synthetic gemstone, hard to tell from a diamond. Botswana's unemployment rate has zoomed to nearly 25%. Still, Boko joins other African countries in pressing for more value-added local handling of natural resources, not just exporting raw diamonds, but cutting and polishing them, like the jewelers of Antwerp. Economic problems are not much on our minds as we drive to Connecticut-sized Chobe National Park, stopping for some big sable antelope. Entering the park's Ngoma Gate, we are bound for the Kabe Lodge near the Chobe River, reputedly a cornucopia of wildlife. Will we finally see some big cats? Leaning back in a badly designed chair at lunch, I take a tumble and almost end up in the swimming pool. Star, who wants us to care as much about the people and their cultures as we do about the animals, is especially eager to introduce Trish Nkugopulang. 5 years ago, she was the first woman in the region to become a driver and guide, a rigorously trained naturalist who can earn an above-average paycheck. Trish schools us on kudus, baobabs and baboons at least as well as any male guide we have met.
You only see those canines?
When you say take him out, do they kill him?
The zebra, or zebra, is Botswana's national animal, its black and white stripes symbolizing black and white racial unity.
And here comes a car taking it. That's a young one.
Across the Chobe, the formerly German and South Africa-run nation of Namibia. These fishermen in a Mokoro dugout are probably from there, casting their nets for bream and pike. Birders enjoy discoveries like a Varroa eagle, a dove,
Is it?
another African fish eagle, a flock of waterfowl that turn out to
What do
be,
we got here? Geese? Egyptian geese.
as in many other places, no shortage of blue-helmeted guinea fowl. But hold on. Resting near the birds are, at last, African buffalo, formerly known as Cape buffalo. Now we can knock off another of the big five, along with elephants, so that makes 2. We have seen a few Nile crocodiles earlier, but not as many as today, along the deceptively peaceful-looking Chobe.
Crocodile. Mr. Crocodile. Hello.
He's smiling a little bit for you. Stop moving.
Oh, sorry.
Why does he?
It's just a big mouth.
Like the head of the.
Yeah, it looks like a head.
Hippos, too, are in evidence, leaving the cooling water for a daytime munch. 2 local women show us in the dining area of the lodge how they weave palm fronds into finely detailed baskets, introducing various colors from the bark of trees. I buy a basket from one of the craftswomen whose name is Precious, like Precious Ramatswe, the smart proprietor in that great series of books and BBC episodes, the #1 ladies detective agency set in Gaborone. For us, it was back to the birds, southern ground hornbills, yellow-billed storks, ibises, a lilac-breasted roller,
Peace and harmony.
lion tracks. Our first lion, the male in a mating pair that, as a rule, may have feline sex up to 60 times a day.
No, you're not moving. As long as you're not moving.
Good eye for the lions.
The mates veer off the road, spotting a line of tasty impala on a distant ridge. The male lion licks his paws and dispatches the lioness to do the killing. That's the way things work. She stalks her prey like our kitty Emily stalks a bird, moving within yards until the impala realize the danger and take off. For this lurking jackal, no scavenging opportunity. At this point, we run into a park ranger named Lebuchan. I ask him about Botswana's on-again, off-again, on-again, shoot-to-kill policy against poachers. However controversial, it has dramatically reduced the problem.
Have you ever had to carry it out?
No.
That's good.
Here in Botswana, only those who are allowed to shoot to kill are the BDF, the soldiers.
Lilac-breasted roller.
Afternoon tea time, a British colonial tradition, endures.
Okay. I don't know if there's a line here. That's good. Thank you. I'm going to have some of that milk.
A New Day's game drive hall, a carmine bee eater, and a lot more elephants. Botswana, formerly the British Protectorate of Bechuanaland, has 130,000 elephants, largest collection of any country.
Are we good?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yeah, okay.
Start at the back.
An African jacana, some curious greater kudus beside the river. Why do you come to Africa?
To see the animals. It's just wonderful to see them in their natural environment, running free, and you learn so much about them. And as a result, you learn about the human race because we are animals and we come from animals. Well, I love the cats because I had a cat at home, and so I'm very partial to cats. But the giraffes are wonderful, and the zebras, they're gorgeous. I love the baboons and the monkeys. I have been delighted by the African people. They are so friendly. They seem to want to help us. I would have thought that there would have been some hostility since the Europeans had conquered these nations and often not treated them well. But they seem to be delighted to have white visitors from America.
Camp staffers invite us to a traditional Botswana braai, a cultural feast similar to a barbecue. Learning that our Karen and Tom Cole are celebrating their 41st anniversary, the staff staged the night as a wedding feast honoring the Massachusetts couple. The roasted meat is top-notch, and we make new friends from Namibia as well as from Botswana. Next day, sable antelope look on as we make our way to the airport at Kasane for a bush plane flight to Botswana's Okavango Delta, allegedly the most promising wildlife vantage point of all. The Okavango Delta, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is a large inland delta fanning out from 3 rivers, an all-year animal refuge of islands, marshlands, and channels, north of the diamond mines. We land at another bush runway, the Kwai airstrip. Yes, there is a river Kwai here and even a bridge on the river Kwai, but we don't see it.
Okay, good. Okay, that was close.
An unusually heavy rainy season, just ended, has turned the sandy Kalahari roads into muddy waterholes. Splashing through, the latest Toyotas lurch toward our last safari camp. Along the way, a stop to be poled for 30 minutes in modern Botswana-built metal versions of the traditionally wooden Mokoro dugout canoes. The shallow channel provides photo ops for Angolan reed frogs and for countless lotus-like water lilies. Still on the way to camp, some wildebeest.
Take a picture? Okay, before we cross.
More greater kudus.
So cute.
And a very sleepy ta'u, that's lion in the Setswana language. Mogotlo Lodge near the Mababe River. Frequently we cross the river over what Starr calls the Oh My God Bridge. to reach the best game viewing areas. It's the gateway to sites like a water monitor lizard, water bucks, and, lucky us, a pack of 11 endangered African wild dogs hunting at twilight. A cross in looks between a German shepherd and a calico cat, these canines also are known as African painted dogs. While the pack brings down an impala out of sight in the bush, the pregnant alpha female waits for the others to return with a share for her. A hyena checks out the scene, hoping for leftovers. The alpha female dog whines and tussles for the promised food. Her reward, a delicious impala leg bone. The hyena gets nothing out of the process. Sights during a final full day in the Delta, a satisfied thirsty Ellie, a steenbok, smallest of the antelopes around here, and maybe a kern eagle, if I've got that right. Near day's end, a pride of lions in action. The pride has killed a buffalo. The females and cubs, having eaten, are leaving the area. It is the turn of a hungry male or two to paw at the freshly butchered carcass. As the English philosopher William Ralph Inge once said, the whole of nature is a conjugation of the verb to eat. In southern Africa, sometimes you eat, sometimes you are eaten. It is not pretty, but it is wild, it is real, and whether we admit it or not, it is why we have come. Leaving the lions to guard their buffalo overnight, we make it home in darkness, spotting an eagle owl and a spring hare by searchlight. Leaving the Okavango the next morning, the buffalo kill is just off our road. We return to the tree, joining a crush of collaborating jeeps from other safari outfits. New lions are having a great time polishing off what remains of the unfortunate buffalo. This time, a patient jackal finds a bone left over. While we have been in Botswana, filming a secretary bird before flying out from the Kwai Strip, what has Irma been doing back in the growing city of Vic Falls, Zimbabwe? After seeing a doctor and feeling better, she has been shopping, witnessing a vulture feeding, paying $58 for a touristy show, and pussyfooting around the posh Victoria Falls Hotel, a genteel relic of the colonial era. Back on the tour, Irma takes part in a home-hosted dinner, an OAT specialty, hosting Prudence Silue, a local tour guide whose family name means leopard. With her, her father, Mike, a retired civil engineer, her mother, Elizabeth, her daughter, Chloe, whose school fees are $900 a year, her brother, John, and his son, Nimrod. That accounts for half of our group. The others visit a second family for dinner. Next morning, at last, Victoria Falls, Africa's natural wonder, the world's largest single curtain of falling water, a mile wide, near a flood peak of 1.4 billion gallons, going over every minute, tumbling 354 feet into a narrow gorge. Despite the rain gear, we get soaked on the walking trail by the thundering mist. In the narrow setting, it's hard to see much. It's mostly mist. For a better look, I pay $240 for a 13-minute helicopter excursion. A farewell sunset cruise on the Zambezi. Irma skips it, but she is well enough to match dance moves with Star.
And then it moved when you walked. Really? It was. Yeah, it covered the entire island. Wow. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Ashore, our companionable outdoor farewell dinner is hijacked by a hippo, walking just across the road to dine on a hedge near our bus. I try to entertain with that animal song from Dr. Dolittle, but as Jimmy Durante once said, never follow an act that has an animal or children. An enlightening final lecture on the life of Dr. Livingston, who first explored the area in 1855, before we fly south for Johannesburg and home. My takeaways? Disappointment at seeing no cheetahs or leopards, deciding that South America's falls beat Victoria, and a nasty case of bronchitis from the near-freezing tents and dawn drives. But meeting the friendly people of Southern Africa, worth it all.
Why,